Vengeful Rites is a lovely little fantasy game based in a world of swords and sorcery. The game follows your journey, the nameless, faceless, and voiceless hero who has awoken from slumber and, after situating yourself, has followed a freak meteorological event that kickstarts your adventure.
Okay, something weird just happened.
This game has a wonderful vibe. Immediately upon playing, it drew me into the world, not through realism, but rather the cartoonish stylization and the uniform design choices that were present. It appears that care and love has been taken in crafting the world to ensure that all of the parts fit seamlessly into it, and that nothing appears to be jarring or out of place. The flow of the gameplay, whilst being linear for the most part, felt comfortable, allowing me to make use of the skills that I had learned in the tutorial undertaken when beginning the game, and showcasing the exciting possibilities of future encounters and puzzles. The mechanics displayed throughout the mini-adventure offered by the demo felt comfortable and natural in most cases. The combat does not feel rough, as you may see in other VR games or ports like Skyrim and such. The climbing mechanic seems to have been implemented to a good degree, much like the game Climby, and obviously general RPG elements are existing, such as a shop and what appears to be stats or skill trees. Though the game was fun and engaging, there were still a few minor, and I stress the term minor, gripes that I had. I will note also that this game is not yet fully released, so there are likely to be major changes to certain aspects of the game. These gripes may have been due to my own stupidity, or rather lack of attention, but I'll share them anyway. It may be the aesthetic that Deep Dive Interactive is going for, but the lack of dialogue or vocals may not fare well with some players. There was a lot of reading and comprehension within the tutorials. It definitely felt like reading an instruction manual. This is not a bad thing per se, as the instructions and the small tutorial environment allowed me to understand most of the functionality of the abilities and gameplay. However, there may be those who will likely ignore these key prompts or misunderstand the instructions provided without visual and verbal examples. I also hope that the master character and personality is actually shown when the full game is released, as he seems like a pretty awesome guy. The only other issue I had was with one of the puzzles in the latter part of the demo, where, due to my not understanding the requirements and my lack of peripheral vision in VR, I struggled to solve it. The entire time that I was attempting to solve the puzzle, I was looking for the wrong kind of key object to complete it. Had there been an example, there may have been, or there might be in the future, of what the completed puzzle was expected to be, I would have immediately been able to resolve the puzzle. This is not to say that the puzzle is a bad one, but more likely just my stupidity in not recognizing the requirements and bypassing the clues in the vicinity. But enough of the negatives. They are, as I mentioned, only minor things, and definitely by no means game-breaking or terrible. Just quality-of-life things that this old gamer would love to see. On to what I loved about the game, and there was quite a lot. Combat. Oh god, the combat. It felt so good. In melee combat, your damage is dictated by the sword swings, so flicking your wrist back and forth really fast is highly inefficient. There is also a nice secondary combat system where you can parry your enemy's attacks, preventing damage being taken, and in some cases causing a minor stun to the enemy. This feels really good, as there is feedback as if you are truly fighting the enemy, well, in most cases. What this secondary combat mechanic also does is allow you to fluidly flow within the heat of battle.
Dead. I die soon. Orc boy clever. Orc boy power of God. My God, make me stronger than you, silly gobble boy. Ha ha. Ha. That block no worky. Yeah, get her. Get some, silly gobbo boy. You on fire now. Now you die. No one better than Orc Boy.
This is particularly important in melee combat for VR games, as when you swing your weapon and impact an enemy, there is genuinely an urge just to rapidly continue the swings. It becomes less of, I'm fighting a foe with my weapon, and more of just whack-a-mole as fast as you can. Most VR games that include melee combat like this prevent insta-killing enemies with these rapid wrist flicks by adding a cooldown on your weapon hits. This, however, takes the game even further out of reality, as you can see your weapon slicing the enemy hundreds of times, yet there is absolutely no reaction, almost like you're slapping them with a paper fan. Even a paper fan would have more effect. This game also has a cooldown system on the weapon swings, however, with the addition of the better damage based on the size of your weapon swing and the parry system, I always found myself alternating between swinging at the enemy, dodging with my controls, and parrying their attacks. The melee combat felt really good and fully drew me in. I was getting so pumped with successfully parrying attacks and coming out the better fighter, destroying the goblins utterly. The archery portion of combat was also very clean. In most VR games with archery, I tend to hate it, let's be honest. Specifically because I'm never a good shot. I seem to have an inability to aim in VR, unless it's a pistol or a gun, not sure why. However, I'm not sure what deep dive I've done here, but the archery in this game seemed a lot smoother. I was actually able to hit targets accurately from quite far away, without much issue. It might have been the color palette or the cartoonish design, as my eyes could easily pinpoint the targets, and I wasn't distracted. I'm unsure, but the archery was quite nice for the brief time that I used it. I'm clearly just a melee boy after all. As for the magic, yes, I can definitely see this system becoming quite intriguing moving forward through the game. There are 4 basic spells types, or spell schools rather. The shield type, I think kinesis, telekinesis, which is movement, destruction, in the form of fire in the game, and restoration, obviously healing. Once you select the spell type, or school, you can then perform spells through different types of gestures. Although I only unlocked 2 of the telekinetic abilities during the demo, the system seems to be capable of multiple different types of spells, based on how you move your controllers. This could lead to some interesting situations in combat and puzzles later on. I'm very pleased at how quickly you can swap into and out of the different schools of magic as well. It is just a flick of the wrist, as they say. Okay, that's enough gushing about the combat. I did also like the leveling system from what I got to see. It seems like it will be interesting. If the skill trees continue to branch off like other skill tree systems in many video games, then I can't wait to see if it'll be possible to become something like an arcane blood rager, a crazy barbarian who has access to higher tier magics. I was also impressed with the calibration setup at the start of the game. It set everything up pretty much perfectly for me. I felt no dissonance whatsoever between my real self and my in-game self. Overall, the gameplay is similar to other fantasy games out there for VR, but the combat in this one makes it special in my eyes. I truly wish to thank Deep Dive Interactive for allowing me a chance to play their game, even if it was only a demo, and I cannot wait for the future updates to this title. I'll definitely be grabbing a copy from Steam when it comes out later this month, and I'll eagerly be awaiting all future content and changes they make to it. I also need to complete my vengeance. Orc Boy! Rawr! Thank you for watching this review of Vengeful Rites. I hope it was informative and helpful. I am by no means a professional reviewer, but I tried my best. Until next time, lovely people, have a wonderful morning, evening, or night, no matter where you are. Farewell for now.